Right, hello, welcome to Double Blue Movies. Let's try this again, shall we? Right, today's episode is going to be about 310 to Yuma. And I only have two versions of it, but I did upgrade to the 4K version, even though I don't have a 4K setup yet. But this is the version I watched of the 2007 remake. And this is the Criterion collection of the original from 1961, I think. And right, so my thoughts on the original black and white version, starring Glenn Ford in the main role as Ben Wade, the leader of a posse that's rob a stagecoach that's full of money. The film looks absolutely amazing. It was actually my second only Criterion collection release, and so although I have no reference to pit the picture and sound quality against, I can tell you that I could see straight away that Criterion just go out and out and do an amazing job on their releases. I would really like to see it on the big screen. The picture was so nicely framed, and because of the expanse of the Wild West and all the rock formations and everything, and yeah, I would really like to get to see it on a big screen and witness it properly, really. So yeah, as I said, starring Glenn Ford in the lead role. Most of you may know him from playing Superman's father, Earth Father, in the original Superman the movie. When I get round to doing Man of Steel and Superman the movie, I shall tell you something extra that I found out about his role in that. So the story of 310 to Yuma has come from an Elmore Leonard story written way back when, and it also stars, playing Dan Evans is a man called Van Heflin, and the barmaid they come across, and there's a lovely little scene between her and Ben Wade, is Felicia Farr. Now, I mentioned her, of course there's plenty of other characters, but I mentioned her because the scene is just something. It just has that that old school romance, not as in lovey-dovey romance, but just the sly and the slick way in which it was approached, which, when the same scene happens in the 2007 version, doesn't quite come across. And that's not to take anything away from Russell Crowe playing Ben Wade in that version, but there was just something about Glenn's version and the way the film was edited that just worked so much better. So yeah, the picture, lots and lots of detail, lots of depth to it as well. As I mentioned in where is it, the All Quiet on the Western Front, that had lots of depth to it as well, and this was no less on this version. So when I got this, which mainly I got it for the channel, I was very pleased to see, because it's quite an old release, that I managed to get one with a booklet, meaning it's a first edition, first press. And I did sit and watch the bonus stuff. So there was an interview with Elmore, and one thing he pointed out was, you know, the cowboy hats, the old curly, the kind of hat that everyone thinks of when you think of cowboys and Indians in the Wild West. Their hats weren't like that. They were either floppy, rimmed, brimmed, whatever you want to call it, or rigid. So actually the 2007, as you can see from that's a rigid hat, and that one's a sort of a floppy rimmed one. They were more accurate in that respect, but also Elmore alluded to the fact that this was probably the first film where they did that, where they curled up the sides of the hats. So yeah, all the cowboy films after this copied it and gave us the cowboys we think of, and we know and love now. So as I said, the story it starts off, they rob the stagecoach, and very quickly someone gets killed, and so it becomes a bit of a manhunt. So the cattle farmer Dan Evans ends up volunteering to take Ben Wade to the train to get the 310 to Yuma, which is a prison. And during that time there is a bit of a switch. So Ben's posse has been sort of, they've faked where he is, and so the posse are going to other towns looking for him. And one of them, who's a bit of a cocky guy, and actually the character, I can't remember his name, but the guy who plays him in the original black and white version was really well cast, and also the guy who plays him in this version I think is equally well cast, but for different reasons. And this goes to show the sort of health and safety, or lack of health and safety back then. The kind of, it would be a stunt where they're driving the carriage and one wheel drops off the side of a bridge, and that's sort of the setup to the posse guy in the far distance watching this, and so they need to free the carriage that's carrying Ben Wade, and that's when they swap him. And anyway, so that sort of puts the gang off the trail and they can't find him. But when they end up in the hotel, and whilst they're waiting for the train, because yeah, there's obviously quite a long time and trains are not frequent like they are today, the tension that builds up, you could tell that Dan Evans is scared, but he's trying to keep his cool. You know, he's got this gunslinger under shotgun, and of course the gunslinger's going to try and manipulate him and cajole him into letting him go, or that kind of thing. And so in this original version, the tension is really palpable, but in the remake it wasn't quite so. It was done differently. Now, to move on to this version, it's fleshed out more. There's a little bit more backstory on some of the characters. There's a few extra characters, and the stagecoach scene at the beginning actually has a Pinkerton on there, and they were a well-known law enforcement company back in the 1800s that were obviously trying to keep law and order in the Wild West. So I don't recall them being mentioned in the black and white version, but maybe I missed that. But definitely the Pinkertons are mentioned in here, and they are a true well-known entity. Yeah, the fleshed out parts, they don't detract from the main story, and I think from modern film they add to it. They add a little bit more dynamics to the story, and yeah, just to have a few more characters and a few more different scenes. you know, you don't want remakes to be beat for beat, like for like, kind of pointless. So Dan Evans in this one is played by Christian Bale, and I think I've written down, let's see, the name of I might find it in a minute. The barmaid, where the sort of the recognition scene. It's not really a love scene. You don't see anything, but it's all alluded to. And so let me just go through my notes, hey, instead of trying to get it all out of my brain. So, as I said, I like the way it was fleshed out. There is a burning of Dan Evans' barn. It sort of shows that he is struggling. He's on someone else's land, so he has a landlord, obviously. And there's how do you call it, a dike, a stream basically, and they keep threatening to stop it off, so he has no water. In which case, you know, he won't be able to water his cattle, or even him and his family. So that's fleshing that out, showing that he's a little bit in trouble and he's not exactly having the easy life. Yeah, and obviously I mentioned the Pinkertons, so yeah, and some of the scenes, like for like, weren't quite as slick. There was just let's say more emphasis on what they thought was the brutality of the Wild West. And in the interview talking to Elmore, the writer of the story, he basically said that there wasn't really that kind of brutality. If someone wanted to shoot someone else, they wouldn't call them outside and, you know, 10 paces and away you go. They would just shoot them. So yeah, I think the 2007 version is literally modernising what we've come to perhaps know and love from the Wild West films, the John Wayne films, and all those other classics. But as I said, it is more brutal. The showing of blood, and just how quick they are to shoot people, and the fact that there's more people shot, and in the nature in which people are shot. And so let's go back to my notes. What else is there? Oh yes, so obviously, as I mentioned, Dan has a family, and in the original one, as he goes off on his own, his family are left back at the ranch. But in the 2007 version, he has his eldest son, is at the sort of coming of age and is, you know, pretty good with a gun because he's been helping out with his father, and he doesn't appear to be scared of the landlord guys bullying Dan. And anyway, when Dan goes off on his quest with Ben, you see the eldest son sneak away and join them, and so he gets involved, and there's some pretty good scenes there regarding that. Yeah, and then what else? So I mentioned the tension. What else? Yeah, well, as let's pick this up again. So as this is much more modern and made around the dawn of Blu-ray, it does actually have 7.1 PCM. Now you may think, oh well, it doesn't have DTS HD master or a Dolby True HD. So what? That doesn't matter. As I explained in, I think it was the unboxing to, it's buried back there, the Underworld box set. You have to think of DTS and Dolby Digital as a brand. A PCM track, pulse code modulation, or LPCM, linear pulse code modulation, is an uncompressed track. It is exactly what the sound mixer hears in the mixing room. So in some ways it is the most true form of audio for the movie. The DTS and the Dolby Digital are a mastering process. When you buy a CD, it gets recorded, the engineer mixes it, then it gets sent off for mastering. It's the same thing. So don't be put off if you're only going to get the Blu-ray, that it only has PCM audio. It is very, very good. I was really impressed with how it sounded. There is a 5.1 Dolby Digital EX, which is like an artificial surround back channel. So if you have a 6 channel, which would be front left, center, surrounds, and 1 surround back. I have 2 surround backs, seeing as it's 7.1. And yeah, the sound is very impressive. The sound was impressive on the original, I have to say. That is, if I can find it, where is the information? No, it's just mono, but I think it was actually PCM mono. So again, the most true to form version of the original audio. So the ending of the 2007 version is done slightly different to the original Glenn Ford version, and I kind of like it, and why not put your own mark on it, you know, as a director or screenwriter. These things are there to, if you're going to remake it, as I said, you're not going to do it like for like exactly, so put your own twist and your own stamp on it. Yeah, I quite like the ending. I won't spoil it. It's not like major spoilers, but you know, watch both films, watch both versions, and doesn't matter which order you watch them in, but yeah, make up your own mind, hey? So what else we got? Oh, that is the notes for the next episode. So there we go, finally got around to doing another episode. Just happened to be in the mood. So if you do like the idea of this channel, please like the videos and subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications, so that when I do get around to getting my head in gear and doing a video, then you will know exactly when it is uploaded. So I have actually watched 3 different films worth of episodes, let's say. So I shall probably do, the next episode will be Tora 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 and Pearl Harbor. Clearly the Pearl Harbor attack from December 7th, 1941. And actually I watched Tora Tora on December 7th this year, 2021. So exactly 80 years and almost to the hour. And I watched Pearl Harbor the next day. So that'll be the next episode, and see you then. Take it easy.